Hi, today I'd like to talk about the Rega Planar P3 turntable. If you are visiting here, it's because you like hi-fi, stereo, and turntables. I am absolutely crazy about music, and I love listening to records, and I'm into all analog formats as well. But I mostly listen to vinyl. I've had several turntables over the years. I've been in this hobby for about 20 years. I've been collecting. I've had quite a few Rega turntables, the older models. So I figured, why not share my thoughts on this player. I'm going to go over the construction of the player, and I'm going to talk about the sound in its stock format. And then I do plan to overlay improvements by swapping out cartridges, accessories like slip mats, and adding an external power supply. With that, I have to say though that if you're ever in the Michigan-Ohio state line by Toledo area, I gotta tell you, you have to go visit my friend Rob at No Noise Records and Hi-Fi. So Rob is a dealer for Rega Chord Electronics, PMC, and quite a few brands that you normally don't find around this area. He's quite the gentleman. He's got an extensive collection of great records, hard to find records, great Japanese pressings. I try to visit him at least once a week and pick up some really nice vinyl. So with that, let's talk about our P3 here. Rob's No Noise record store is on Monroe Street in Toledo. Look him up. Okay, so first thing I'd like to say is I think this is a great value turntable. It's in the middle of the Rega range. You have the P1, you have the P2. There are plus versions of it too, I think, with built-in Phono preamps. This is the not quite in the middle, but somewhat in the middle, the P3. It's available in white, red, and black. I think this is personally my favorite color, white. It comes, all Rega come standard with a dust cover, which I feel is quite important. When I'm not playing, I leave it on to protect it from dust, and also from pets. I do have cats. Sometimes I worry they might get on the turntable when I'm not around and damage the cartridge. So there you go. I do like to take the turntable cover off when I'm playing records. I'll explain why. Usually, normally, they are hinged like this. For example, project turntables, etc., hinged like this. While they're stable, at times when your HVAC is running, this area tends to catch draft, and that's going to introduce unwanted resonances into the plinth. So Rega makes it easy. They always have had this detachable. While playing records, I prefer keeping this off. Okay. Next, let's talk about just a functional slip mat here. Reduces static. Playing records does the job. Set this here. Then we can talk about the floating glass platter. So this is, I think, the heaviest part of the turntable. They chose floating glass because in architecture, it's quite common. Building construction, they use this type of glass for its sound isolation, insulation properties, and thermal insulation properties. So that's, and it's also quite, it's been around for a very long time. So manufacturing processes have been established. It's quite easy now to maintain dimensional tolerances and the mass of the platter, which is important. I'm going to set this aside. Now, if you notice something here, let's talk about the plinth, and then we can come up back here. The plinth is super lightweight. Rega's philosophy has always been low mass, low energy absorption, and low resonance transfer onto the rotating, the bearing, and thus the rotating platter. What Rega, when you step up to the P3, what it offers is not only the lightweight plinth. In fact, this plinth is unique from the lower models in that it's mass optimized in the right spots. In addition to that, they have now bracing. So what bracing does is it provides torsional rigidity between the important mount of the tone arm and the mount of the bearing. Combination of the stiffness and lightweight plinth improves rejection of unwanted resonances entering into the table and into your record player. They have this metallic finish on this phenolic brace, but it's essentially just a finish here, and it's on the underside as well. And on the underside you have a 24-volt white motor, nice rubber pegs, feet as well, and the switch is now on the bottom, which I like. And coming back on top, we have a phenolic subplatter. In the models above the P3, like the P6, I think it transitions into an aluminum subplatter. And we have just the ordinary belt, although I read that from this month on, the ELBT belt is going to be offered standard on this player. They tout some claims on sonic improvements, but I don't know. I have not heard it, and I think it's mostly a longevity thing. It will just last longer. There might be some science to it, where science in the sense the interface between the belt and the pulley, as the record spins, there are some micro slips that could be happening, and that would send your speed, there'd be some light variation, and depending on the hi-fi chain that you have, your amplifiers, your speakers, depending on their resolution, you could notice the sound quality degradation in that. The upgrade that's available on the P3 is the Neo PSU. When that's plugged in, what it does is that it monitors the speed of rotation of the platter, keeps it at a constant with a feedback loop. So that would take care of any speed variations going on. And now we come to the tone arm. So this tone arm is a mass optimized hollow tone arm. They've utilized 3D CAD CAM and come up with this. Has a stainless steel counterweight, has anti-skate adjustments. That's I believe new for this model, the RB330, and a tiny screw here on the left in case you install cartridges that have a little more depth, and your tone arm lift doesn't quite clear. You can just adjust this screw, move it up, tighten it back, and you get your clearance there. So there is no VTA adjustment or azimuth adjustment. And coming to the cartridge, you get you can get it without a cartridge, but I think when you buy it with the Rega Ellis 2, you get a price break, a discount. The beauty of Rega cartridges with Rega tone arms are that they have a 3-point mounting, and you don't need a protractor to align the overhang and the cartridge to the tone arm. 3-point mounting, sink the screws, set them, and forget them. And you have to set the tracking force. That's it. I have never had an easier setup for a long time. I've had quite a few turntables that are quite difficult with unipivot arms to set up, but this setup is a breeze. All right, so it comes with a phono cable attached, good quality, low capacitance phono cables. I think previous models, people used to complain the quality is not quite good, but this seems like good quality cable here. It does not come with a ground wire, but I have not had any hum issues. I think they take care of that with the negative terminal here. And I have had friends who have had an occasional hum problem, and they've always traced it down to interconnects or proximity of the power supply unit to another amplifier or pre-amplifier or some sort like that. But it has never been because of, in my experience, because of the turntable. Even if there are tricks where you can have a ground wire attached to the chassis of a component, and you could probably sink them under here, but I've never had to do that. So that's pretty much about the construction. The important thing here is sound. Again, I've said I've owned Rega turntables before. I owned a Rega P3 at one time, and I modified the heck out of it. I bought the upgraded the aluminum subplatter, the low-hanging counterweight, the Delrin platter from Groove Tracer, and it made tremendous improvement. And I added the older power supply to the P3 as well. It brought up the sonic performance, and it's up in so many levels. And I've even mounted Dynavector XX2 Mark II cartridges, Koitsu cartridges on the tone arm, and it sounded phenomenal. This turntable with this budget cartridge, it has given me so much satisfaction. It's hard to compare between the two because I've sold that turntable. It's been some time, so memory, as you know, is kind of faulty. So I can't remember and say I just enjoyed listening to music on that, and I enjoy listening to music on this. The one thing I'd like to say in a nutshell about the sound quality of the P3 is that it gets out of the way of music. I know it's a cliche term, but it really puts some sense into that saying. You forget about bass, treble, mid-range. It all comes together cohesively, well knit, cut from the same cloth, so to say, and you get sucked into the music and the performance, and you start noticing and understanding the interaction between players. If I could draw an example, Bill Evans Trio, if you like jazz, some of his recordings are in a bar setting, live in a bar setting, and the combination in stock form is beautiful. The tone density, it's rich. The piano is weighty. You can hear soft conversations in the background, clinking of glasses. It is all there. It brings the atmosphere into your listening room. It is quite the experience. All for quite the budget price here, right? So that's, if you listen to other kinds of music too. I listen to all kinds of music, heavy metal, classic rock. Black Sabbath's one of my favorite bands. The older Black Sabbath albums, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, Sabotage. You realize that those pressings and those recordings were pretty good back then. It sounds so punchy. It rocks. Even the later Dio Sabbath albums like Heaven and Hell, Dehumanizer, you sometimes you can hear the reverb of the studio. If you're into classical music, this does that justice as well. Big orchestras, big performances, intimate performances. There's instrument separation. You can hear them. Soundstage is wide, and again, frequency extension is there. Tone density is there. It's very enjoyable. That's about my thoughts I had on the Rega P3. I do plan to upgrade and have another video discussing the sonic improvements. I'd like to start with perhaps the Neo PSU, perhaps an aluminum subplatter, see if the slip mats make a difference. There's some by Herbie's mats. There's the Acromat by Funk. I want to try those, and I definitely want to try the Anya MC cartridge. So stay tuned. I hope you liked the video. I hope to post more of such of my thoughts on turntables. I hope to even review reel-to-reels. I really enjoy listening to music through my analog gear and discussing it. If you like my video, please click the like button, and hope I post more of the same. Thank you.